Okay. On behalf of Access to Integrative Medicine, aka AIM, Health Institute, and the GW Office of Integrative Medicine and Health, welcome to a mindfulness experience. AIM is a nonprofit organization with a mission to provide vulnerable and low-income communities with access to whole person health and wellness. The GW Office of Integrative Medicine and Health provides professional development, education, and community outreach to improve health and wellness. Today, we are very happy to welcome our facilitators, Claudia Joy Wingo, MPH, RN, FNHAA, you're gonna have to explain to us what that means, Claudia Joy, and, and Harpreet Gujral DNP FNP-BC. Claudia is a clinical herbalist, co-founder of District Herbs and Department Chair of Health Promotion at the Maryland University of Integrative Health. Harpreet is the Program Director and a nurse practitioner with the Sibley Integrative Medicine at Sibley Memorial Hospital, which is part of the Johns Hopkins Health System. I hope everyone's having a wonderful Friday. I'm coming to you from beautiful sunny South Carolina. And I will turn things over to Claudia Joy now.
Okay, no problems. So I will say that that we will have questions at the end. Happy to ask answer anything. And I've kind of done an overview. We can't possibly go on into too much, and I do want to concentrate on the herbs. And Misha, if you want to come in at any point, please do. So, people are often asking me about herbs and coronavirus. And so I just wanted to say that obviously we all know that we're experiencing this outbreak and that it keeps spreading around the world. And so I do think that it's something that people didn't take notice of in the beginning, and to everyone's chagrin now. It's interesting for me though, because my background in, I did natural therapies to start off with, and the initials that you were asking about, Janet, I'm a fellow. I'm a fellow of the Naturopath and Herbalist Association of Australia. So I'm a dual American-Australian citizen, and I did my training in natural therapies, in nursing, and in public health, all in Australia. So, and my MPH is, I majored in biosecurity and communicable diseases and health promotion. But I actually did my naturopathy and herbal medicine before I did my nursing and my MPH. So, I do think that people don't realize how many emerging infections are caused by interactions between animals, birds, and humans. And so it's something that keeps happening, and I think that is going to happen more and more because of disturbed environments. And so, I do have a real interest in obviously herbs and diet and health behavior, but I also am very much interested in the environment. I'm on the executive board of the Rachel Carson Council, and so let's just say I have diverse interests, and I do believe that we need to address the environmental part of why this virus has spread. So one thing I do want to say, is that when people ask me about what they can do about, protecting themselves against COVID, the first thing I think people should do is look at who are the most likely to have severe symptoms. And we know that this is very much the elderly, particularly people over 75 or 80 years old, and also those with comorbidities. And if you have both of those, then it's particularly dangerous for you. So I will say that we know that COVID-19 and influenza is most dangerous for people that are older or have chronic illnesses or weakened immune system. And it's one of the reasons they're so worried as winter comes, because we will be hit with both influenza and COVID will still be around. So one thing I say to people is that if you have diabetes, high blood pressure, or cardiovascular disease, or have some kind of chronic respiratory condition like COPD or severe asthma, then you really need to think about working with those first before you do anything else. You know, there's so much research being done in this area that it's just a faucet of information coming at you. So I think it can be a little bit overwhelming, and it can be so different for different people. So I just was listening to Dr. Fauci today on Washington Post Live, and he was talking about this, that, you know, the threat can be very mild. People can have very little symptoms at all, or sometimes maybe not even any, to life-threatening. The one good thing is that they are better at treating it when it becomes severe disease, but you really don't want to wait till you have some kind of issue. You really want to be protecting yourself. And so really we realize how important it is to do body-wide kind of protection, because they talk about the SARS and also COVID-19 attached to the ACE2 on the surface, not just of the lung, but spleen and lymph, and actually the digestive system epithelium. And so there are lots of different things going on. So I think everyone knows what the symptoms are, you know, and actually, as time has gone on, there are more and more symptoms that have been shown. They talk about COVID-0, and they talk about having digestive upsets. And so you will see when you look at the symptoms, there's now, instead of just the 4 symptoms that they looked at in the beginning, there's about 10 to 12. So I'm sure everyone knows conventional measures now, and more and more people are wearing face masks, even the president, and even states that didn't originally mandate wearing face masks, but it's really very much widespread now. And I think we've all heard these conventional measures till the cows have come home. So, you know, let's think about what else you can really do. And I always say, you really need to prepare yourself. I can tell you that I've been looking after myself much better than I have for a very long time. And I think that, you know, you've heard everyone talk about the anti-inflammatory diet. Lee talked about this in length last week. And I do think that it's absolutely key, you know, that rainbow of color. And I would say, as Michael Pollan says, eat food, not too much, mostly plants. And then I add in lots of tonic and adaptogenic herbs as well. I do also think that you really have to find ways to counteract stress. And really, I think part of that is getting out, spending time in nature. And, you know, part of that is, you've heard that having extra D is really important. So I think getting out in the sun, but also getting out in just time with nature. Actually, next week, we're going to do a virtual walk in the woods, unless people might want to be out in the woods while they do it. So I think that's really important too. And we'll talk a little bit about stress and how it is really part of this whole picture. I will also say that my first career, before I did natural medicine and nursing and public health, was as a chef. And so I really believe that food is truly our best medicine. and that, you know, a lot of herbs can be used as food. And I actually prefer to use herbs in the diet on a regular basis if you can possibly do that. And so you'll see, I'm going to talk about herbs today that I think are specific. And I will say in this time of COVID, I think that often you have to do them in concentrated kind of methods. But I also have herb paste in my refrigerator. I have powders of different herbs, particularly adaptogens, that I make into snack balls. I have a turmeric seasoning powder that's next to my stove that I sprinkle on everything. And so I think that you really need to find ways to bring both all that rainbow of fruit and vegetables into your diet and herbs as part of that diet as well. So, you know, why herbal medicine? So, you know, herbs do work on many levels, and they can really help if you have underlying conditions, and they can also help for general body support. You know, I will say that a lot of the drugs that they were trying to use for SARS or for COVID-19 were so kind of targeted in their specificity that they had a lot of failures when they were first trying things. That's not really how herbs work. So herbs have much more broad spectrum ways of addressing support for the body. And so I found this article that was published very recently, June the 30th, about how herbal medicines possess the ability to block the SARS virus from binding to ACE2 while simultaneously increasing that activity and expression. And so they actually seem to help modulate the inflammatory cytokine levels. And I think that particularly if you're trying to protect yourself from getting it, or if you did get it, have a much less severe infection, I think that's actually really key. So, you know, if you're thinking about putting together a herbal protocol and you have some underlying issues or constitutional weakness, and what I mean by that is, you know, are you in your family, is there a lot of cardiovascular disease or diabetes? Then really think about those things first. So, you know, if you have high blood pressure or cardiovascular issues, increase your intake of vegetables, lower your sodium. I think that's actually really important. And use cardiotonic herbs, which we're going to look at. If you have diabetes, then definitely eat a low glycemic diet and exercise regularly, which really helps. And take supplements and herbs to stabilize your glucose level. You know, I do think that alpha lipoic acid does help, that chromium helps, chromium picolinate in particular, and that there are some herbal blends that are concentrated that I've seen really help with stabilizing your A1C level. If you have COPD or asthma, eat a diet high in antioxidants and omega-3 oils. Drink lots of green tea. Green tea is highly antioxidant, and it seems to be particularly good for anybody that has respiratory issues. And for everybody else, do everything I just said. You know, so don't forget to nourish your microbiome. It's really important, and we know now what effect it has on our immunity. And also make sure you're taking adaptogenic and antioxidant herbs to help you cope with stress. And come here every Friday, because I've been doing it on a regular basis, and I really look forward to Friday afternoons when I know I can get a little break from all the tension at work and stop sitting in front of the computer for a few minutes. So I just want to talk a little bit about those herbs if people do have issues. So cardiotonics, these are cardiovascular herbs that we talk about as being tropho-restoratives or tissue restoratives. And so if you have high blood pressure, or even if you have a history in your family of cardiovascular issues, these really work as foods for the most part. So we talk about them as food for the heart. And I think that hawthorn, and you'll see a little picture of it up here, The berries, flowers, and leaves all work very well as a cardiovascular tonic. But also the vaccinium, so that's blueberries, cranberries, and bilberries. Hibiscus, and it's actually the calyxes that you use, and they make a delicious tea. But also some ones like garlic in your diet, but also you can take it in capsule form, olive leaf, and people often ask me, they're like, okay, you're talking about all these herbs, but which one should I take, and how do I find these? And so I thought I would just give you some examples, because in reality, and I'll say none of these, I'm not affiliated with any of these, but I think it helps to know where to look for things. And you'll find, and I have a list of what I consider reputable herb companies. So there's something like the blood pressure support blend, and you'll see that many of those herbs I just spoke about are in that blend. This one here in the middle is a hawthorn solid extract with blueberries, and I actually take that every morning. It's a solid extract. It looks kind of like a jam. You can just take a spoonful of it on. I tend to just mix it in a little bit of water and slug it down, but you can put it on a cracker or really make it into a cup of tea if you want. It's an easy way to get the hawthorn, and it tastes yummy. Or olive leaf in capsule form. I like Gaia because they actually use the extract, and so this is antioxidant and quite supportive for the cardiovascular system. You can also do something like a tea. So I have a practice at the Smile Herb Shop, hence the tea blend, which I put together. And again, a number of those herbs that I just spoke about. Heal Thy Heart Tea. This is actually a company that myself and another woman run, and we've put together some specific herbs. And you can get just teas in tea bags like this one with Gaia, which is hibiscus calyces. These little things. It's actually not the petals, it's outside the petals, with mandarin orange peel, which is really nice. I've tried them, so I'd like to give you some idea. If you feel like you're really on edge, you can also use some cardio nervines, like this is linden down here, motherwort, and bugleweed, and you'll often see these in blends. If you have any issues with the respiratory system, then really think about kind of organ tonics for the lungs, which again we call tropho-restoratives. They often have a lot of minerals in them. This one right here is mullein, and you'll often see it made into a tea. You can also find some that are really very specific for the immune system. There's one called Albizia, which really helps with allergies, but it also seems to stabilize the mast cells in the lungs and help with T lymphocyte serum levels if you have really severe allergies. And so that picture is Bacchal skullcap. Some of the others, though, elder's a really good one to think about, as well as thyme, oregano, and some of the berberine containing herbs such as barberry or Oregon grape. If you do have something like COPD or asthma, then you want to be thinking about some antispasmodics. I have asthma, and I really keep it under control with herbs. And so this is probably the herb that I feel works the best for asthma. It stops spasm of the bronchial tubes. But it works on smooth tissue, so it actually works if people have kidney stone, colic, or coronary artery disease, or angina when they get the spasm. And the second one I always talk about for anybody that has asthma is Grandilia. And again, it's one that really helps the tightness that you get from asthma. And again, here's a couple of respiratory support blends that I find really very helpful, and I actually use both of them on a daily basis. and it really does keep everything under control. And again, you'll see those herbs that I've talked about, the Kella turmeric, as well as an anti-inflammatory. This one's got quite an array of different herbs in it. But I feel like they're really protected, so they help with my asthma. But if anything should happen, I should be exposed, I feel like I'm looking after my lungs. The other thing I will say is that if you have either high blood pressure or any respiratory issues, it's definitely worth it to take some of the macro minerals. And I find that magnesium is particularly helpful if you have any spasm. So I also wanted to talk a little bit about adaptogens, because really I think people are feeling the stress. And adaptogens are herbs that really help you cope with stress. You will get this PowerPoint, so you can go back and have a look at the kind of explanations of things. But I just want to whip through some of them so that you get some kind of an idea of what you might be able to do. That's rhodiola, and we're going to look at that. So one of the first ones, and I think one that I love and I think is really something that helps right now to calm everybody down, and that's withania or ashwagandha. And you'll see all of its actions. It's adaptogenic. It helps with anxiety. They talk about it as a cognitive enhancement and immune modulating. And you'll see that there is actually some good research around using it with the SARS-CoV-2. So, you know, I do think that this is something that is worth doing on a regular basis. Often people take it if they have anxiety. It seems to help if you take it at night if you're having any problems sleeping. Rhodiola is another one, and this is for if people are really having fatigue. You know, in reality, I would say this is an energetic or an energizing adaptogen. And so people tend to use it for fatigue and depression and for longevity. And I do think that people are really feeling just tired of all the things that are going on. I will say that the rhodiola extract has this salutatride in it, and it's been shown to really help with stopping any lipid peroxidation and really bringing down inflammatory responses in the body in general. But, you know, it seems to really help, particularly in the lungs. Ginseng, I think that American ginseng is one that's been used for long-term debility. It's a kind of classic adaptogen. And really when you're feeling more debilitated. Korean ginseng tends to be more heating tonic. Oh, that last one didn't come up. And so, you know, usually we talk about it for people that are elderly or debilitated, but I feel like at the moment, it really would be a good thing for everyone to be using. And it does seem to help with that cognitive performance as well. And
Claudia, just want to give you a couple-minute warning.
Okay, no problem. So again, I looked for some specific research around Panax. And again, you'll find it does have these potent anti-inflammatory effects. Eleuthero or Eleutherococcus, actually, I have two different ways because it just has changed its name. And this was used a lot in Russia as an antiviral, but an overall tonic, and quite specific around adenoviruses. And you'll see it's one of the most researched herbs that we've got as far as adaptogens go. And holy basil, again, antioxidant. But I want to, I'm gonna let you come back and look at all the mushrooms because I wanna show you some of the herbs in, you'll see there's lots of different mushrooms, and some of the products that I think work really well here. You'll see this one has, in a capsule form, rhodiola with withania, holy basil, and schisandra. I particularly like these by David Winston. He's a long-term herbalist, and he has a whole a line of adaptogen formulas, which I think are really very helpful. And I also like this Deep Health. Again, it's extract in a capsule form along with some of the mushroom supplements. And I think I will, I do think turmeric in any form is a really good thing to be doing. I would also say, think about antioxidants. So, ginkgo is a particularly good one, but ginger, thyme, oregano, green tea, use them in your food, take them as supplements, and make it part of your daily routine. Okay, let's stop there and have our mindful activity. And I'm happy to answer questions if people have any at the end.
And just so everybody clear, we're going to have all the slides recorded. So if you feel like you missed something, remember, you can always go back to any part of the presentation and so see all of the slides. Claudia, I'm glad you went through slides. If you have any more couple more slides left, you can just kind of quickly scroll down so people can, in the future, if they want to revisit some of it.
I talked a little bit about Stephen Buhner's book, Herbal Antivirals, which I think is really good. And you'll see I also have places for you to go for homemade recipes, reputable places to get products, and that's it. So I did pretty well of getting through it.
Excellent, thank you. So I think what we should do is hold the questions. I've answered few questions, and so the last question about the books I think was already answered. So let's go straight into the second part, and then I think we'll come back to questions towards the end. How about that? All right.
Where's Janet?
Janet probably has a poor connection, so trying to. I was eating when the first part started. Did we introduce our second guest?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So
Hi, Misha. Thank you.
Hi.
Thank you. Hi, Lee.
Okay.
This is just amazing. Until Claudia said that the slides were available, I was writing feverishly. Claudia,
Yeah,
this was amazing. Yes, it was
all the slides are shared. And I think we're also going to share the actual slides, not just in presentation, but as a PowerPoint.
Yes, I will give them to you.
Thank you. This was a wealth of information. So I'm really grateful and excited. My name is Harpreet Gujral. I'm a family nurse practitioner and currently getting my meditation teacher training with Tara Brock and Jack Hornfield through Sounds True. And I'm so excited that Jeanette and Lee asked me to be part of this meditation, Friday meditation. So as we segue from getting this amazing information about adaptogens, about being in our kitchen, looking at, turmeric and ginger, I'm actually drinking ashwagandha tea, my gratitude tea. Just love, surrounding ourselves with herbs. But how do we else take care of ourselves? And so breathing is a wonderful way. As Claudia, you were mentioning how, going through these very unprecedented times, how do we regulate our own autonomic nervous system? And we know that our sympathetic nervous system is great with giving us the right umph to, get up and get through the to-do list. And so there is fight, flight, freeze. And whereas the other side of it, which is the parasympathetic nervous system, that gives us the rest, digest, repair. And I think to Claudia's point, as she's mentioned adaptogens and wonderful herbs and being in our kitchen and really using those rich resources, tapping into our breath. We know that we have, very fortunate to have a pair of lungs and that connects with the autonomic nervous system. And through breathing, through our voluntary control of our breathing, we can actually make an impact on our anxiety and stress. And so, if you say, well, Harpreet, I am so busy, I never get a time, any time that I ask you, I invite you to look into this very simple movement before we go into, meditation of breathing. And it's called 2 feet and 1 breath. So it's actually, whether we're sitting down or standing up, just feeling 1 foot. So let's feel our left foot, and then actual sensation of it, and then the right foot. And now take 1 conscious breath. So just breathe in and breathe out. Maybe notice your shoulders drop. Maybe there is relaxation. Maybe we notice some sensations that we hadn't noticed before because we were so focused on all the amazing information Claudia was sharing with us. So I think it's important to now focus on our breath and how we can make an impact of parasympathetic nervous system that will actually allow us to have some brake pedal, as opposed to gas pedal in the car, and allow us to reduce inflammation, focus on our breath. And so it's a great way. Another way to do is called 4-7-8 breath. So 4-7-8 breath, as you know, is breathing in for count of 4, holding for count of 7, and breathing out from your mouth for count of 8. And the tongue remains behind the teeth like this. So the tongue stays behind the top teeth, and we breathe in from our nose. So we'll do this very short practice before we go into the meditation of breath. And so let's go ahead and I'll count for you, and we'll go through 4 breaths of this. The recommendations are that you are, if you come to this for the first time, some people might get over relaxed, or maybe they might get a little dizziness. So you never do it while you're driving, and also or operating any machinery, and maybe sitting down is a good way to do it. So both feet are on the floor, whether you're sitting or standing, and the tongue is behind the top teeth. We're sitting with ease and dignity, or standing, and the tongue is behind the teeth like this. And take breathing in from your nose. So I'll count for you. So let's go ahead and do this. Breathing in from your nose, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe out from your mouth. The tongue is still behind the teeth. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So when we're breathing out, it's making a worse sound. So breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe out from your mouth, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Very good. Breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe out from your mouth, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One last one. Breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe out from your mouth, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Very good. Now just notice checking inwards into the body. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel your ankles, lower legs. Feel your thighs, pelvis, belly area, chest, shoulders relaxed, arms, elbows, wrists, fingers. Notice your neck, your jaw, ears, cheeks, nose, eyes, forehead, and scalp. It's just being present in this moment. Maybe in the heart there is this gratitude because we all came together as a virtual community, and we're taking care of ourselves so we can give our best to the world. So just noticing, you know, most of us have been bending forward all day, whatever we were doing. So just noticing as we relax our shoulders backwards doing the 4-7-8 breath. So excellent. Very good. So let's move into meditation of breath because we know we were talking about, and I'm sure you've heard about this multiple times, about relaxation and lowering our stress level by controlling our breath, by elongating the breath. So this was wonderful. I'm so glad you did the 4-7-8 breath. The ideal recommendations are to do it 4 times a day. I do it usually maybe just before getting to a meal, breakfast, lunch, dinner, bedtime, or waking up in the morning first thing, along with gratitude. So I just combine the two as a biohack, so I can use gratitude and breathing 4-7-8 at the same time. Okay then, so let's go ahead and get ready for meditation of breath. This will be just 15 minutes, so we can, finish on time. I know your time is precious. And posture-wise, I would just say noticing something that's comfortable for us, a posture that's dignified and is with ease. And noticing our shoulders are not up here, just very relaxed. Not manipulating the breath, we're just going to notice the breath. We're going to do 2 things. We're going to notice our breath, how it enters the nose, the back of the throat, into the chest area. And anytime our thoughts go, take us somewhere else from the breath, we just come back. It's almost like that little puppy that has a hard time sitting down and it goes off. We're just going to gently bring back the puppy and ask the puppy to sit. So likewise, we're just going to focus on our breath. We're not going to empty our brains, our minds, because the mind, just like heart beats, the mind thinks. And so all we're doing is right now is using breath as an anchor for the next 10-15 minutes. Okay. Then, and it's also important because I think most of the day we've all been thinking cognitively. So actually sensing the breath, like really focusing on how the muscles and the chest are expanding, how the belly rises, what sensation do you feel in your shoulders when you take a deep breath in. You'll notice the shoulders kind of rise when you breathe in. And so just getting into the body and actually sensing it and not thinking about the breath. Okay, all right. So let's go ahead and get started. I would ask you to invite you to either close your eyes or just gaze downwards, whatever is your comfort level. And just taking a moment and getting into a good posture. Both feet on the floor, sensing the feet. And as I said, allowing the eyes to gently close or just gaze downwards so we can focus on our breath much more comfortably. And checking in with the moment with sensation of our body. What are you sensing? Is there warmth, tingling, any aches, pains? Just noticing without making any meaning of that sensation. And letting it all just be as it, nothing to fix, nothing to do, just letting yourselves to be just as you are. So just focusing on the breath. As best as you can, just taking a note of the sensation of your breath. For example, the breath going into the nose, into the chest. The shoulders rise, the chest expands, the lungs are getting full, and breathing out, muscles relax. So just noticing that sensation. And if it's helpful, you may take 2 or 3 breaths. Just a bit deeper, so you could normally just sense the place in your body where you feel the breath the movement. So just taking a couple of deeper breaths in. Maybe it's the chest or the belly. You might notice it's pleasant. Maybe it's relaxing. Just noticing the sensations of the breath. And now letting go of your control of the breath, not manipulating the breath in any way, just trusting the wisdom of your body to manage the breath as we breathe in and breathe out, just normal breathing. And you're observing the breath, not controlling the breath, just observing. Perhaps you notice the breath expands the chest on inhale and falls away on the exhale. Sensing how the chest lifts and falls away with each breath. Maybe relaxing the muscles that may feel a bit tight. Tracking as best as you can the entire cycle of the breath, the inhale and the exhale. Simply tracking the sensations of each inhale and each exhale, allowing yourself to get as close as you can to the sensation of your breath. Using the awareness of the breath as your anchor to the present moment. Nothing to do, just this breath, noticing this breath. Noticing with respect and gentle attention. Noticing with kindness. Noticing this breath here. Noticing each breath as it develops, getting curious, allowing any tension in the body that isn't needed to be released with each exhale. Where is your attention now? Where does it go to during quiet moments? Each time you notice your mind has wandered off, you're doing the practice just right. That is the moment of mindfulness, gently bringing your awareness back to your breath. Seeing how the chest falls and expands with each exhale and inhale. This lifting and falling away of the breath is completely familiar, a reliable anchor to the present moment. Right here, right now, this breath. Allowing your space to be just as you, breathing in, breathing out, right here in this moment. Anytime the mind wanders, just gently bringing it back to attending to the breath. Ever so gently and kindly, just noticing the breath. Noticing the inhalation and exhalation. Noticing the gentle rise of the shoulders with each inhalation. It's almost so delicious to notice the breath. Breathing in, breathing out. And as we begin to paying attention to the body as it has relaxed with breathing, just paying attention to the feet on the floor. The hands in your lap or wherever they're resting. The shoulders rising with each breath. The breath entering from your nose. And gentle exhalation. And when you feel complete and ready, you can open your eyes, returning your attention to the community. Thank you for your attention. You may open your eyes. Stretch if you need to.
Thank you. That was very relaxing.
Right?
Thank
We're
you.
slow to come back.
Yeah. We ran out a little bit longer than usual, but I think if there's any last question or two, let's do that. And thank you everybody for coming, and we'll see everybody next week. Okay, I guess there is no questions. I'm trying to find if there's anything we didn't.
There's a question.
Yeah,
about,
there are a couple of questions.
Yeah, autoimmune diseases are being at a higher risk for a cytokine storm.
That's what used to be thought in the beginning. It's actually not really clear if the autoimmune condition is well managed. I don't think there's enough evidence to make the statement that the risk is higher, actually. I think the concern still is if somebody is managed with a strong immune suppressant, that somehow there's a higher risk of infection, but actually the cytokine storm should be lessened in those patients because they're already on immune suppressant on this to block the immune response. So that's a good question. I think the reality is there's no real clear answer to this. And it's a balance between the weakening immune system and allowing for a higher rate of infectivity, so being infected, versus the developing more severe form. And remember that the talented hydroxychloroquine is used for autoimmune diseases as an immune suppressant. Just, I'm just saying that as a side note.
There were, pilot study report results from Johns Hopkins. There is a transdermal glutathione.
I don't know. I have not seen that study, so I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know where that is.
Dr. Hyman's study.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he got funded at all.
So the study is ongoing, but there are no results.
No results. So he did get funded?
Yes, for at least one portion of the study.
Mm-hmm.
There was a question about the herbal medications, herbals and interaction with medications. I don't know if you can speak to that, Claudia, where they might find that information.
So I would say, really, if you're on a lot of medications, you probably need to consult with someone before you dive into. If you're taking herbs as teas or as food, then you probably really don't need to worry about it. But if you're on multiple medications, then I think you need to be working with somebody.
Yeah, I think the question was specific to anticoagulation, and Claudia, I said exactly the same, that you probably need to run this by your healthcare provider just to make sure that there's no interactions.
Wouldn't that be information that you could also ask your pharmacist?
Not always, I think. I mean, you can, and there are also obviously software and programs to do that. But I think somebody would need to know not just your list of medications, but also your medical problems to answer that well. That's why I'm not exactly sure that pharmacists would be a good resource if the physician doesn't know. But, I think this question is a little hard to answer without a lot of more detail.
Okay.
I think some pharmacists.
Thanks, Misha.
Sure. Yeah, a lot of pharmacists are going to be way more articulate and knowledgeable about this topic than certain physicians, for sure.
All right. Well, I think that wraps us up for today. Thank you so much to our presenters. We will send out Claudia Joy's presentation. Thank you very much to Janet and Dr. Kogan, and we will see you next week at 2.
Thanks for coming.
Have a wonderful weekend, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you next week.
Everybody, see you next week. Thank you.
Bye.